All right. So this is going to be different. I read a story today about Danielle Johnson, a woman who allegedly killed her partner, threw her two children out of her moving vehicle on a freeway, killing the 8-month old, and the 9-year old is currently in the hospital with moderate injuries. She then ended up crashing her car and dying on impact. It goes without saying that this is tragic, and I pray for that child who survived. May they be strong and loved and helped by those around them. I pray for the families of the victims. I pray for Danielle. I pray for, I pray for her because it appears she was not in her right mind. I pray to anybody who saw what happened or to the rescuers that were there. And may Jalen Cheney and his family find peace and support in this time as well. And with that being said, the news about this incident is full of headlines about how she was afraid of the apocalypse. She was an influencer, and she was an astrology, tarot, new age influencer. I glanced over a few of her posts as well on Twitter, as she did have a following and she did have her own community going on. It from what I see, she definitely legitimately appeared fearful about the eclipse. She believed that this was going to be a true apocalyptic event, and when you combine that with her spiritual practices and beliefs, panic, and I would say a lack of discernment, I would have to say that that contributed. We truly need more guidance and more education and more resources for those who are struggling, whether it be mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Just, it's been said so many times before. Now, this also got me thinking about the trend of the new age. And it got me thinking about how sometimes new age practitioners and believers can easily be misguided. There have been a rise, and there continues to be a rise in interest of the new age practices for especially since the pandemic. Like, there was a big surge of that, and it makes sense. It's something to turn to when all other avenues fail, are confusing, and this kind of makes you feel more empowered. Now, as for me, I've been into new age practices since I was a young adult. Now, I must explain that I am not subscribed to the idea that tarot, astrology, things like that, I do not believe that these practices predict the future or have any mystical force behind them, and that there are practical ways to apply it without getting lost in it. Now, I used to be this way in my teens when I was like lost in it, where I was like, oh, these cards, man, oh my gosh, they do these crazy things. Like, they're amazing. They tell me everything. I totally fell victim to that Barnum effect. And we will get into the Barnum effect here in a little bit. Luckily, I met people who were also, fellow practitioners, and they really helped ground me. And I am so thankful that I came across people who were very well grounded when it came to their practice. It's to the point where now, when I'll just casually bring up tarot, and somebody will say, oh, I don't believe in the tarot. And my response to that now is, what's there to believe? And the reason why I say that is because of what I learned. And I still practice to this day, but it's not as though I have the cards and their meanings and their symbols and numerology and astrology signs that are attached to it. I don't have that memorized. I have to look up the meanings. I have to look up everything and then kind of go from there. So it takes me a while. But when I do tarot reading, it's just a way to reflect on any kind of personal problems I'm having as a conversation piece or just because I feel like it. That's all it is. Now, the people that I met along the way, I wish that they were here to contribute. Sadly, they're not. And with that, I will be reading some excerpts from Labyrinthos, which is actually what I've started using in terms of keeping track of tarot through an app. And this one's really good. They do readings every day, and they also have instruction booklets and courses and quizzes you can take. Pretty fun. So, but I really, really like how grounded their introduction into the tarot is and what it is exactly and what it is not. And so I'll go ahead and read from that now. According to labyrinthos.com, tarots are man-made tools. And like all tools, they have their limits. Because, let's face it, they're made by humans, not mystical beings. They're flawed, they have limits, and they should not be revered as this mystical, wonderful, all-knowing everything. Like, you cannot do that. So Labyrinthos says that it is a tool to allow the hidden voice to speak. The cards are simply something tangible on which we can project our feelings and thoughts. Keywords here are project. Tarot allows us to put the tarot cards together in various configurations so that we can see parallels between the stories within the cards and our own experiences. The story you tell about yourself greatly influences the way you think about your future. Tarot is about helping you tell that story, finding facets that you may have missed. End quote. And to me, that's almost like talking out a problem with someone, and this back and forth between the two of you, and through that back and forth, through this conversation, you're able to gain insights that you never thought of. However, this is something that you can do with cards. So it's you and the cards having a conversation, or it's you and another person and the cards having a conversation. That's really what it is. And you're taking your personal experiences along with your experience as a human and projecting them onto the cards, creating a story, maybe finding some sort of insight because it is activating your higher thought processes, your higher self, or that inner voice that you have. And the inner voice is not necessarily this mystical thing within you. It is technically, but it's more of the human experience of consciousness. Now let's talk about the Barnum effect. And so we have this thing like, well, if that's what tarot is, then why are people completely enthralled in it? Why do they rely on it so severely as they do? Well, that is due to this. And according to Britannica.com, the Barnum effect in psychology is the phenomenon that occurs when individuals believe that personality descriptions apply specifically to them more so than to other people, despite the fact that the description is actually filled with information that applies to everyone. The effect means that people are gullible because they think the information is about them, only when in fact the information is generic. And here specifically it says psychics, horoscopes, magicians, palm readers, crystal ball gazers make use of the Barnum effect when they convince people that their description of them is highly special and unique and could never apply to anyone else. Now, there have been instances where I do a reading and it is accurate, but I don't think I'm doing that. And I don't think the cards are doing that. The cards are a tool for reflection. And I can take my personal experiences and make a guess as to what the cards are telling me about the person that I'm doing a reading on. And it isn't because I know what they're doing. I'm just like, hey, here's a game. This is a game that we're doing. Does this sound right to you? I have met tarot readers who are extremely accurate. but I still cannot allow myself, and you should not allow yourself, to completely get taken in. And nor should you believe that everything in the cards or everything that you read in the stars is going to come true. You have to understand the metaphysics behind it, which is a whole other thing. Now, to be clear, I am not an expert on anything that I've spoken about. And you can see I am literally reading from the internet. These are just my thoughts, getting them out there. Maybe helping my own friends and family, my own peeps understand me a little bit more as well. I mean, they do, but it's always better to have more understanding. And that's all for today. Thank you so much and have a wonderful one. Be safe.